So in this video, I'm going to be explaining the Piggy Book 2 hidden ending. Now, the hidden ending was actually very crazy. It was pretty good, and however, towards the end, there was a cliffhanger, and we basically saw Zizzy, and she was uninfected, and we're in Kona's safe place, and that's not actually the case because towards the end of the cutscene, the camera shifts back, and we see that we are looking through an insolence wall. So, is Zizzy alive? Or is she actually still infected? Well, I'm going to try to answer that in this video. So anyways, let's get right into it. But before we get into that, if you haven't already, make sure to leave a like on the video and subscribe. But anyways, as I said, let's get right into the video. So as soon as you enter in the code to start off the trending, we are talking to Mimi, asking her to send out a radio distress signal. But after that, you go into the potion room, and it is actually not distorted, and you can see that Willow has somehow beaten Tigry, and Tigry's like finish it. But then the player tells Willow not to try that, and Willow is just blinded by hatred, and there's a whole long speech. And then after that, Tigray also talks to Will, saying that they are both alike because they both keep their pain buried inside. And they also talk about how they are alone, separated from their friends and family. And Tigray also talked about how Willow listened to him as soon as he met her, and how even though he talked endlessly. But basically, after that, Willow Mimi actually interrupts us and then says that we're gonna want to come see whatever she wants to show us. And apparently, it is actually the military. They come in a military copter, and you actually see a new character, and his name is Sergeant Monroe, or I think that's how you pronounce it. And basically, he says that they got our distress call sent by Mimi. And then we actually find out that Tigray actually used to be part of the military because Sergeant Monroe says they have a deserter and a criminal amongst us. And Willow is obviously a criminal, and a deserter is basically someone who deserts their post. We don't exactly know why Tigray did this. There are multiple reasons. And then we basically say that we have the cure. But then, out of nowhere, a bunch of the insolence infected pop out of the ground, and Sergeant Monroe says, "Ready weapons," and just like one of the notes Kona wrote, they actually just suddenly randomly appear out of the ground. Then we get teleported into our memories. And over there, we actually see the mystery man. Well, his actual name is Tio. And then basically says that he's disappointed in us, and he told us not to follow this path because he wanted to keep everyone safe. And he says that free will is destructive, and free will is what destroyed the world. And he says, look at what Mr. P has done. And then after that, he says that getting the cure would cause another war because that kind of does make sense. The world is in an infection and everybody would want the cure. People would be fighting each other to get that cure. It's probably something that would happen. But then the player says, "No, you're wrong," blah blah blah. And then Tio says that we are too oblivious to see the destruction of the future, and then he says that he has no other choice but to stop us himself. And then we see the part from the one of the true ending leaks. Suddenly Tio just pops out of the ground from a black puddle. He has like all these insolence eyes around him. You can see the beating heart. He looks pretty cool. But then after that, the code parts come in, and he's basically chasing us through our memory. But after that, once we get to the main part of the map after unlocking the code parts, Tio basically chases us around this distorted version of our memories. And basically, we see a bunch of our friends. First of all, we see Georgie, and he is getting chased by his sister in Distorted Penny, and you have to give him a bat so he can fend off his sister. The next person is Pony, and he is actually being attacked by his infected father, I think it is, and you have to give him a sword. Then the last person is Z, and she is being attacked by infected Zizzy, and you have to give her a sword to fend Zizzy off. Now, basically, once you do all of this, you basically realize that if we're in our own memories, we can use it to our advantage against this guy. And we basically use our memories to summon in Bunny, Doggy, and Zizzy. Once you give them their respective items, they take out Tio. After that, another cutscene starts, and Tio is basically dying. He says, "You buffoon, why?" And then he just disappears into his black goo puddle. We don't know if he's dead. I highly doubt that he could die that easily, but then again, it is possible. But then after that, we wake up back in the real world, and we find out that the military has taken care of all of the infected, and then we actually give the military the cure. And then everybody thanks us for helping them. Pony thanks us, and George also thanks us as well. After that, Willow and Tiger basically decides to forgive Willow for what she's done, and they basically become friends again. And this time, they actually decide to go out and adventure on their own. And then we say, "So is this goodbye?" And Willow says, "Never goodbye, and thanks for making me realize that in my pursuit for revenge, I've only been pushing others away from me." And she basically accepts that she was wrong, and she basically says goodbye to the player and everybody else, and also wishes us good luck with saving our friends. And then basically Sergeant Monroe says, "Let's get moving, we've got a mission to complete." And then it ends off there. However, it actually doesn't. After that, we actually see a scene with everybody in the group inside Kona's safe place area thingy, and we actually see Zizzy there. And Pony is also there, and he says that the price of carrots has skyrocketed and it is much higher. Then Zizzy suggests creating a carrot farm, and then Pony's like, "You know what? I think the price is fine." And then it basically ends off happy ending, right? No, because then after that, like, the camera shifts backwards, and we can see that we're someone in the insolence is watching over us, or this is a distorted memory. It's like that weird insolence wall. Now I have a couple theories on what this could actually be. First theory is that, well, we're actually still stuck in our memories. Tio is actually still alive, and he trapped us in our memories, and this is basically us seeing a distorted memory of everything, and we're just stuck in our memories, and we're just frozen, just like we were frozen during Temple Map. However, we were still moving during that, and there's one big problem because obviously everybody else in the group would notice that, hey, why is the player not moving? And they would probably take us somewhere safe, and they'd probably not let us stay there, and they'd be like, "Oh no, this is probably Tio speaking in his mind again." The second theory is that we actually cure Zizzy, and this is after the infection, and the military has distributed the cure to everyone, and they've actually. But again, this does have one problem. We don't actually know where Zizzy went. We have no confirmation that she's actually up north, unless the military was testing on her. But again, Zizzy was actually like pulled through a portal by Mr. Stitchy. Another thing this could be is that this is actually Zizzy's point of view. It's a distorted memory of Zizzy, and this is what Zizzy thinks she's trapped in her memories. Maybe that's where she got pulled back by the shadow hand, basically Mr. Stitchy. And if another theory is, if we did defeat Mr. Stitchy, I would assume that well, not if we did defeat Tio, I would assume that Mr. Stitchy probably came back and took over the insolence. Obviously, they have not stopped the infection. However, I do think that the insolence has stopped trying to control everyone. Maybe even maybe they stopped controlling the infected and slowly the infection dies out. That's how Inner City plays on. But yeah, that's basically it. I do have a couple of theories in mind. I might actually make a few more videos on that. But yeah, this is basically it. Let me know what you guys think about this down below in the comments. If you guys enjoyed the video, make sure to leave a like on it and subscribe.
I stood here once before.